going to take a look at a song by somebody not as well known as he should be, Blaze Foley. This is Clay Pigeons, a song that impressed John Prine enough that it's one of the few covers that John plays, did play, commonly in concert. And he talked about he wished he had written it. And anyway, Blaze had a short career, well, almost 20 years, I guess, a singer-songwriter from Texas, and met an untimely death in the late 80s, unfortunately. But a few of his songs have really gone on to be high accolades by people like John Prine and the Avett brothers, in particular this one. So both of them covered this song. We're going to talk a little bit about both of their versions and some of the picking that happens in it, but mostly it's a pretty generic finger-picking song, meaning you certainly shouldn't do the exact same thing every time. Right there I was kind of reading the music because I've written out the intro one of the way Blaze played it in one of his recordings, and I also have the intro written out the way Scott Avett played it in a concert or in a little recording studio that was really nice. It was a little bit different. It went a little bit more like this. I'll play it first and see what you think. He has a few, a lot of times he hit the same bass note a couple times in a row. That's why I had to look at it so carefully. It doesn't have to go that way. That's the important thing about this. But there are unique little things. John Prine does something a little bit different with the pull-off and the melody in his intro. So I'll probably address all of that too. But the idea here is we're just going to talk about the chord progression and I might sing a verse or two so you can get an idea of what happens in the song. But if you can already do a steady just alternating bass pattern where sometimes you're playing melody notes in between, sometimes you have pinches, sometimes you might hammer on a note like this. That never happens in this song. But sometimes we have pull-offs in there. There's a hammer on it that could happen. So we're going to break down the chord progression. This is going to be a fairly short lesson because once you look at the chart and kind of understand the chord progression and the various parts, should be a piece of cake. So a couple more segments here and we will get through Clay Pigeons by Blaze Foley.